As March 21 draws closer, the anticipation for Disney's live-action Snow White continues to build, though not necessarily in the way the studio had hoped. After multiple delays and controversies, the film is finally set to hit theaters, and it's poised to be one of the most fascinating box office experiments in recent memory. The question isn't just whether Snow White will perform well, but whether it will be a complete disaster. With so much surrounding this film, both in terms of its creative decisions and its lead actress, Rachel Zegler, it's hard to predict how audiences will react. One thing, however, is becoming abundantly clear: there seems to be a significant portion of the audience that simply does not like Zegler, and that sentiment has only intensified over time. Whether it's her outspoken comments about the original Snow White or her dismissive attitude toward certain fan criticisms, she has managed to alienate a large segment of potential moviegoers. Her controversial remarks about the film have been widely discussed, particularly her claim that she doesn't need the business of those who dislike her. It's a bold statement, but is it one that holds up when looking at her career trajectory outside of her role in The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? Her projects have struggled at the box office. Her recent Y2K-themed film, which was released around Christmas, barely made a dent in ticket sales, leading to speculation about her true appeal as a leading lady. The skepticism surrounding Snow White isn't just anecdotal. The numbers tell a story of their own. The latest trailer for the film, which dropped just a few days ago, has been absolutely hammered with dislikes. At last count, it had racked up over 92,000 downvotes compared to just 5,400 likes, a staggering disparity. It's worth noting that this isn't an isolated incident. The previous trailers have also suffered similar ratios, collectively accumulating over 1 million dislikes. At this rate, it seems almost inevitable that this newest trailer will reach the same milestone. Perhaps the most damning indicator of audience reception is the comment section. Instead of excitement, curiosity, or praise, the overwhelming majority of responses are negative, with many expressing their preference for the film's villain over its heroine. One particularly brutal comment suggests that the best ending for the movie would be if the evil queen, played by Gal Gadot, and the prince lived happily ever after instead. Others mock the film's attempt to redefine beauty, with one sarcastic take suggesting that even by the movie's new standard of inner beauty, Zegler still wouldn't come out on top. A major point of contention has been the film's decision to alter the classic mirror on the wall scene. In the international version of the trailer, the mirror doesn't simply declare Snow White the fairest of them all. Instead, it states that her inner beauty is growing, implying that attractiveness is now measured by character rather than appearance. While this is certainly a modernized take, it's one that many longtime Disney fans are rejecting outright. For them, it's another example of how the film deviates too far from the beloved 1937 animated classic. And then there's the twist that has left many scratching their heads. Snow White, in this version, is a resistance fighter. Gone is the traditional portrayal of the innocent and kind-hearted princess. Instead, audiences are being presented with a heroine who is actively fighting against oppression. While Disney has not been shy about reimagining its classic characters with stronger, more independent personalities, this particular shift feels jarring to many fans. The original Snow White was a fairy tale about love, kindness, and overcoming adversity through inner strength. This version, however, appears to be pushing a vastly different narrative, one that some feel is completely disconnected from the original story's heart and soul. The biggest question now is how Snow White will perform at the global box office. If recent Disney live-action remakes have taught us anything, it's that international audiences often play a crucial role in a film's financial success. Domestically, the outlook appears bleak, with many predicting that Snow White will struggle to attract audiences in the US. However, if international markets embrace the film, it could still turn a profit. This was the case for other live-action Disney remakes that were met with lukewarm reception in North America but thrived overseas. Still, there's no denying that Zegler's public image has taken a hit. It's rare to see an actress actively damage her own career the way she has. Most stars facing backlash try to mend their reputation, but Zegler has doubled down on her statements, seemingly indifferent to the potential consequences. Whether it was her dismissive attitude toward the original Snow White or her comments about not needing certain audiences, she has made choices that have undeniably influenced the perception of both herself and the film. Disney, for its part, has remained relatively quiet throughout the backlash. Unlike past controversies where the studio has actively engaged with criticism, they have largely allowed the film to speak for itself. Whether this is a strategic move or a sign of their own lack of confidence in the project remains to be seen. Snow White is poised to become one of Disney's most controversial releases in recent years. Will it be a surprise hit, proving doubters wrong, or will it be another high-profile failure that forces the studio to rethink its approach to live-action remakes? The answer will become clear soon enough. One thing is certain: the conversation surrounding this film is far from over. The excitement and controversy surrounding Disney's upcoming live-action adaptation of Snow White continue to dominate discussions as we inch closer to its scheduled March 21 release. Despite Disney's best efforts to promote the film, there remains an overwhelming wave of skepticism and criticism, particularly aimed at the casting choices and creative decisions made for this highly anticipated project. One of the most talked about aspects of this film is its handling of the iconic seven dwarfs. Instead of casting actors with dwarfism to fill the legendary roles, Disney opted for CGI and taller actors, presumably to avoid controversy. This decision has sparked outrage, especially among actors who could have had the opportunity to bring these characters to life. Many recall the backlash ignited when Peter Dinklage openly criticized the traditional portrayal of dwarfs in the classic tale. His comments seemingly influenced Disney's choice to alter the depiction entirely, leaving many hopeful performers out of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to star in a Disney production. The negative reaction to the film's promotional material has been staggering. The latest trailer has amassed an overwhelming number of dislikes, with the count rapidly climbing into the hundreds of thousands. At this rate, it could easily surpass 1 million dislikes, marking it as one of Disney's most poorly received live-action adaptations before it has even hit theaters. Online sentiment appears heavily skewed against the film, and a significant portion of the audience is questioning the decision to continue pushing these live-action remakes, which rarely, if ever, surpass the charm and timeless appeal of the animated originals. Disney's track record with live-action adaptations has been inconsistent at best. While some movies, such as The Jungle Book and Beauty and the Beast, found box office success, others, like The Lion King and Aladdin, failed to capture the magic of their animated predecessors. Many fans argue that these remakes are unnecessary cash grabs, lacking the heart and soul that made the original films beloved classics. The backlash against Snow White, however, appears to be fueled by more than just creative choices. It also extends to its lead actress, Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler, who first rose to prominence in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story and later starred in The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, has become a polarizing figure in Hollywood. While some admire her talent, a significant portion of the public finds her off-putting, especially due to her outspoken nature in interviews and on social media. One particularly infamous moment was when she stated that she did not need the support of a certain segment of the audience, effectively alienating a substantial number of potential moviegoers. Statements like these have only contributed to the skepticism surrounding the film, with many believing that she has irreparably damaged her public image. Adding fuel to the fire is the fact that Zegler has been associated with multiple box office failures. Outside of her role in the Hunger Games prequel, other projects she has been attached to have underperformed. The most recent example was the Y2K-themed movie that debuted around Christmas, which failed to attract audiences and suffered a dismal theatrical run. Many critics and audiences alike are now questioning whether Zegler has any real box office draw or if her continued presence in major productions is more of a liability than an asset. International audiences could play a significant role in determining the film's overall success, as they have saved struggling Hollywood productions in the past. However, the domestic market remains a crucial battleground, and if Snow White flops in North America, it may spell disaster for the studio's confidence in continuing its live-action remake trend. Disney has already faced significant financial setbacks in recent years, with high-budget flops becoming more frequent. The studio cannot afford another costly failure, and Snow White's performance could serve as a critical turning point for future projects. Another point of contention is the film's drastic deviation from the classic Snow White story. Traditionally, the tale focuses on the titular character's innocence, kindness, and beauty, which ultimately leads to her peril at the hands of the jealous evil queen. However, in this adaptation, Disney has taken creative liberties that have not been well received. Reports suggest that Snow White will be portrayed as a resistance fighter rather than the gentle princess audiences are familiar with. The concept of rewriting beloved characters to fit modern narratives has been a divisive issue in recent years, and this instance is no exception. Fans of the original story argue that there is no need to transform Snow White into a warrior-like figure, as her strength in the original tale lies in her resilience, kindness, and unwavering optimism. Adding to the controversy is the casting of Gal Gadot as the evil queen. While many agree that Gadot is a fitting choice for the role, some have gone so far as to joke that they would prefer her character to win the story's conflict. This sentiment, which is widely expressed in online discussions, underscores the general discontent with how Snow White herself is being portrayed in the new adaptation. If audiences find themselves rooting for the villain rather than the protagonist, it could spell trouble for the film's overall reception. The negativity surrounding Snow White is not limited to casual moviegoers, it has extended to industry insiders and critics who question whether this film should have been made at all. Many speculate that the overwhelming backlash and poor marketing reception could have long-term consequences for the careers of those involved. Zegler, in particular, faces an uncertain future in Hollywood. While she initially emerged as a rising star, her public persona and repeated controversies may have placed her career in jeopardy. If Snow White becomes a major financial disaster, it is difficult to see how she could continue securing high-profile roles in blockbuster films. The entertainment industry is no stranger to public fallouts, and history has shown that actors can recover from even the most damaging controversies. However, the key factor in rebuilding an image is public perception, and Zegler's consistent missteps have only reinforced negative opinions. Hollywood is a business, and if studios determine that an actor is detrimental to box office performance, they will be less inclined to take risks on them in the future. Zegler may find herself relegated to smaller indie projects or supporting roles if she cannot turn things around. As we count down to the March 21 release date, all eyes will be on Snow White and whether it can defy expectations. Will it manage to attract enough audience interest to break even, or will it become another cautionary tale in Disney's growing list of live-action misfires? Given the current climate of skepticism, it will take an extraordinary effort for the film to overcome the mountain of criticism it currently faces. Whether it succeeds or fails, one thing is certain: the conversation surrounding Snow White is far from over.